All right, howdy. So I am doing a little bit of a demo today of something that I've been working on for a few weeks. I refer to it, as those of you who have followed me, as my rack of Derm. And I was inspired by picking up a few months ago the bottom two pieces that you see in the rack, which is an RRM 280 stereo power amp by Randall and a Rocktron Blackface Chameleon preamp, which was a very popular unit in the 80s, maybe early 90s, I don't know, because I was not at all able to use / afford rack gear in the 90s or the 80s. I pretty much was lucky if I had an amp and a guitar that worked. So I lucked into this Chameleon and the Randall a few months ago, which came in a nice compact two-space rack, and had some fun with that. And it reminded me how much I had always wanted to have an Ada MP1, which is the second down, or third down, I guess, straight in the middle of the rack there, with the number 1 showing on it, which is a MIDI programmable preamp that was used a lot in the 80s, early 90s especially. White Lion used one. The producer of the White Lion Pride record and maybe the following one was also a producer of a lot of German bands, except, and he apparently was a big fan of the MP1. And it's kind of a stereotypical processed 80s sound. And so I got that, and it kind of set me off on making my rack of Derm here. And I got just now the last piece in, which was a tuner that I wanted to have on here, so that I could have that going back and forth while I'm playing. So I just want to kind of give a real quick run through of a couple of these pieces. I'm not actually using the Chameleon right now. It's not hooked up to anything. It's got power, but I mean it's not turned on. I experimented around with a couple of different effects units, because one of the things that the Chameleon has that the MP1 does not have is the Chameleon has a pretty full set of functional effects. It's got delays, it's got reverbs, it's got choruses. The MP1, on the other hand, has a chorus, but it does not have any kind of delays or anything built in, so I needed a multi-effects unit. And I tried several before I lucked into this Intellifex, which really, really ties the room together. I picked up this 6-space rack case locally here, used, and moved this rack rider over from another space in my studio where I wasn't really using it for much of anything. I will probably replace it with a unit that is just straight power and doesn't have the lights on it, since I didn't really need those, and put that one back in my other rack. But so here we have the MP1, and the firmware version on it when I got it was 1.38, which is one of the earlier releases of it. So it's an older one. I got it used off Reverb for a good price from a guy in California, and they had serviced the unit and put a new input jack on it. As you can see from the guitar cord hanging out of there, if you weren't real strategic about how you routed your cables, you could easily have a problem with yanking that out of there or breaking the jack. And then I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, so I updated it to the 201 firmware because I want to be able to upgrade or dump the patches to the computer via MIDI. And the other thing about it is that you're not going to be able to really read these here, but the original unit only came with 29 patches, and the 201 version comes with 69. And that I got from the MP1 manual. The great thing about the internet is all this stuff is online somewhere, and also stuff like this. There's a great Ada forum called the Ada Depot, which you should check out if you're into this kind of thing. They have things like this sheet here, which is a handy reference to write down patches that you want to keep in case your memory goes bad, or if you don't have a version that supports the MIDI dump. But so obviously you can hear I've got some noise going on, mostly just from being around so much electrical stuff here. But so this is the basic sound of the MP1. Played that wrong. Let me try it again. Hit it again. Fever, but you can hear that it does a pretty credible cranked modified JCM 800 kind of tone. It also does have a chorus built into it, which I will get to here. It's actually, one of the things that I like about this unit is that it's really easy to edit stuff. All these buttons on the front panel make it very user-friendly. So here it is with the chorus just barely turned on. As I said, one of the nice things about this, it doesn't have much in the way of effects on it. But I did pick up this Intellifex unit, which really is kind of cool. Works really well, and I'm able to run stereo because I've got stereo power amp here, and I'm running it out into, you can't see, but it's a Marshall, one of the split stereo cabinets. You know, where you can plug into one side and it's 16 ohms mono, or you can plug into the other side and it's stereo, or with a switch. And so since the effects loop on the Ada is only mono, what I do is I run the output of the Ada, the line output, into the Intellifex, and the output of that in stereo into the Randall. So here it is. Here's a couple of the presets on the It also has some really cool pitch shifting effects in here, which I've barely touched so far, but there's some really just some basic echoes for leads. flush flange. I'm just going to find a couple other quick fun presets on this. Really cool pitch shift things here I want to find here. Here we go. Okay, listen to these. Fun there. But I think I've probably settled on this as my configuration for right now. The sniffer in me says that I should have a nicer amp than the Randall, like a Mesa or a Marshall tube amp. But for this kind of thing, I think the Randall is actually just perfect. It's a single space unit. It doesn't generate a lot of heat, which I do have from the Ada, because it's actually got tubes in the preamp, and it only takes up one space. If I got I could go one more space. If I pull the Chameleon out, I could put a 2-space amp in the bottom there, but that's about it, and I certainly don't want to get any bigger than 6 spaces total. So anyway, that's it. Just wanted to give you a quick demo.